This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at sphererocketva.com and find out how we can make your life easier.
Hello. Happy Friday. And if you are late and listening to this podcast on a Monday, that sucks for you. My name is Gianna. I am the host of the Icon podcast. So welcome back to another episode. And today we are featuring Kevin and Stacey Goodman. Thank you guys so much for joining.
Good morning.
Thanks for the invite.
Of course. So let's talk a little bit about your guys, your history, where you live. We have the hiccups now. This is a mess already. Where you guys live, your story, how y'all got into real estate and, working together.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
I figured I'd let you start that one.
Do you want me to talk about you?
No, I talk about how you got in real estate, where we went, how we wound up where we're at.
Okay. Well, we live in a small town, Ennis, a little south of Dallas, about 30 miles.
Okay.
I got in real estate when my children were, they were 12, 15, and 17-ish. So about 18 years ago. I had always been interested in real estate, so I just thought it was the thing to do at the time. Kids were all half grown and I had some time, so I did it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so back then we had a relatively successful, at the moment, industrial repair business that we both worked in together. She took care of the books and all the office stuff, and I managed the guys. At one time we had about 15 guys that worked for us, and tried to open a couple of other businesses that pulled me away from that business that eventually caused it all to crash. But regardless, in 2006, by 2006, it had crashed, and she was doing fair with real estate and with a large franchise, and I said, well, I'll jump over there and we'll do that together.
Sure.
So we did, and lived that out until the crash and of the real estate, and I guess we hung on until about 11 and left the big box brokerage and went to a small brokerage. That didn't work out so well either because of it did. I take that back. We loved the broker. Later on, there were other people that got involved that we didn't necessarily get. I didn't necessarily jive with.
Yeah,
So yes, she jives with everybody. I'm harder to get along with.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I found EXP through a podcast. Imagine that.
Yeah.
And 3 years later, we're two-time icons, or soon to be. We'll close our icon transactions for this year in the next week or so.
Yeah, I know.
Woo! Congratulations, guys. That's huge.
So we live in a very small town.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin's family's been here since the beginning, and I'm a transplant. But what is there, about 20,000 people here?
There's about 20,000 now, and we actually, my family has deeds that go back beyond the founding of the little town we live in. So
yeah,
it's pretty cool to go look at some old land grant deeds that were mid 1800s, but
yeah.
Hey, absolutely, guys. And then, so you were introduced to EXP via podcast, and how did that, how'd you stumble across that podcast? Who did you reach out to ask some questions before you came over? How'd you cut that cord from your broker? Tell me that story about the transition, because that can be the hardest part for some people.
Well, for me, I think the broker pretty well expected it. we had actually, not me and he, but me and his wife, she came onto the brokerage and wanted to get her hands into things, and sent one of my clients some information that it was actually a walkthrough form is where we got crossways. But anyway, that's in the weeds. We had words. I left it at that in November of 18, and at that point I decided I was making a transition somewhere. Didn't know where. Didn't want to be a irrational person and leave because of I was upset. So
Right.
it took me until May of the following year of 19 to actually make that transition. But I'd heard on a podcast about EXP and had kind of got connected with Kevin Cottrell, and me and Kevin talked it through, and it worked out best that I go under Gene. So Gene is actually our sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
But he did all his due diligence. He called EXP agents to find out about EXP. So he called different agents trying to find out why people loved it.
I really wanted to find, I'd never heard of it. EXP was about 18 or 19,000 strong at that point, and I'd never heard of it. So I wanted to find somebody that had some good, solid information on it. And
Yeah.
I Googled EXP agents. At that point, I found probably 6 in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which we're talking about a large area, and I found maybe 6. So I called the ones that I could contact with, and everybody was in love with EXP. And I said, this is something's crazy about this. This can't be true.
He says there's got to be somebody that hates EXP, and I want to talk to that person. And why do they hate it? But
Right. So what cinched it for me is I called and I couldn't even give you his name at this point, but I talked to an investor that said, I'm not a real estate agent, but it works really well with my investment business.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of investors taking notice of how to implement EXP into their business. And me and a partner had been doing some flips pre-crash, pre-08, 09. So it resonated with me what he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, I went ahead and joined. I actually had some business that I needed to make active, some new listings, and we were actually trying to get ready to go on a vacation, and I finished the onboarding process and got my new listings active while I was on vacation because I couldn't get it done before we left for vacation.
yes, and I'm not that quick to transition, so it took me until August to move over.
Okay.
So
Why did it take you so long?
I wanted him to test it out. I mean, the whole, totally virtual avatar. We talked to another agent who he showed us the world, and we actually guess we had already joined, or you had already joined at that point, but he walked us through it. It was kind of odd to me. So,
Mhm.
and I wanted to make sure that it was going to be a good fit before I moved over. So I went.
Kevin, you go be the guinea pig.
Well, carry that on out further. I was still in research mode, so I was still, even as far, we're nearly 4 or 5 months in, and I'm still picking up pieces of EXP, trying to figure out how it plays into my life. Because when I heard the pitch, I didn't hear, oh, you're going to get rev share, oh, you're going to get stock, oh, you're going to get this or that. I heard, if you do enough production, we're going to give you your cap back. I was like, oh,
That's
wow. Right. I've never had that opportunity.
Yeah,
let's give that a go. And then through my next few months doing research, I come across a little tidbit that nobody had seemed to mention.
No.
and that was the domestic team
Right.
portion of it.
And we had never had that offered to us at the other brokerages. So
Yeah.
Right.
we
So
always been individual agents, never a team.
didn't
And-
share a cap, had 2 caps,
Mhm.
and was like, hold on. So that cuts half of that expense out. You're coming to EXP. So
Yeah.
I called her. I said, hey,
You got
you're coming to EXP. She was at the other office. I was like, you're coming to EXP. And
That's
So-
awesome. No, you guys, it sounds like you did your research and, obviously you were skeptical and you did the right thing, Kevin, by, you're like, that's what I do when I look at reviews, right? I'm like, where's the 1 star, right? And how did they resolve this? And so, I like how you approached it. You're like, let's find somebody that hates EXP, which is few and far between. And so, then going straight to the source, testing it out yourself. And then here you are, Icon Agents, which is awesome. And my next question is, now that you guys are over here and really enjoying EXP, obviously you already mentioned the getting your cap back in stock, but what is something you didn't expect about this brokerage that now you really enjoy or didn't know about?
I want to say the culture. It took us a few years really to plug in because it is a virtual
Right.
brokerage. So you don't enter unless you make the effort. You don't interact with other agents within EXP.
Because we're south of Dallas. There's
Yeah.
not very many in Ellis County where we live. There's not very many agents, and it took us a while to get plugged in. So,
And the culture that in the last 2 years we've really plugged into the culture.
Mhm.
And I guess it's really not even been 2 years.
No,
It's probably been, it was a few months before build of last year. So it's probably been just over a year.
right.
And, and COVID had something to do with
Right,
that too,
yeah.
because we're going through this pandemic and nobody's meeting in person. Everybody's doing Zoom. So through that process, we figured out that the EXP culture is unlike any other we've ever experienced.
It's not a culture, it's a community, right?
Right. EXP agents want to share what they're doing to be successful. They want to share what they're doing to become Icon agents.
And we had never had that before. I mean, I've been a realtor like 18 years, and before EXP, you go into the office to the top producers and say, "Hey, how do you do what you do?" And they give you just enough, but not all of it. They wouldn't share everything. And we live in a small town, so I'm like, "Why can't you help us? We're all friends." But,
Yeah.
We've heard time and time again when we go to different events and people are not part of EXP, how awesome they think the culture and how everybody is so, willing to help. And so that's what
It's the dog eat dog world at those other brokerages, makes it tough. And then you guys, okay, so clearly you're married because you've got the same last name, unless you're brother and sister. So, right. And then you are, trying to balance family. You live in a small town. I'm sure you guys have a lot of clients. So clients that are friends too. So how do you draw the line between work and play? Where's that work-life balance stand for y'all? And then, how do you continue to improve that balance for you guys and keep, boundaries healthy and just go day to day, right?
Well,
We're probably different than most couples in that we spend
24 hours a day.
well,
Pretty much.
I'm going to say we probably spend 23 of 24 hours every day with each other, and we're okay with it. And then we're okay with actually not having those balances where we go, okay, today we're not going to work. Because if the phone rings, one of us is going to pick it up.
Right.
It's just part of the business, the service industry that we've been in. Like I say, we owned a service business, an industrial service business before.
Mhm.
So the phone rang one night I got out of bed 4 times. and not got out of bed 4 times, got out of bed, went and got in the truck and went and ran a service call 4 different times.
In one night?
In one night. So
it's not unusual for us to, I guess you could probably say we don't have work-life balance. We work when people call us, and I mean, we go on vacation. We always take our laptop, and if we can't do it, then we have someone help us while we're gone. But we take our laptops even when we're on a cruise. We spend at least several days while we're gone.
fielding problems or
checking emails and doing
or building
things.
business. I mean,
It
so
doesn't stop. You have to continue
You got to continue the hustle.
that's right. So we've done several cruises. So since I'll give you a kind of a rundown. Since the restrictions have eased up, we've done either 3 or 4 cruises. We've went a mastermind in Puerto Rico, participated in the Cabo event, Tennessee.
We went to Sprint in Tennessee.
Sprint, where we met, EXP Summit, and then a couple of trips, probably 3 trips to a beach house in Galveston. So we take our time to go do our things, but with everything we do, we carry work with us.
Yeah.
And the last cruise we were on, we were in a hot tub, and Stacy picked up like 3 referrals from people in the hot tub.
Just drinking my wine.
Damn, Stacy. In there hustling, drinking her wine. Everybody's like, you know what, Stacy? Here's some money. Go get them, girl. That's awesome. That's really cool, guys. And it sounds like, you kind of consider these masterminds where you're traveling out of state. Not only are you recharging, but you're also, improving. So that's a really cool balance that you guys have there, which is the best of both worlds. And now, if you guys want, let's talk a little bit about the Icon Award, because on the Icon podcast. So in your market, if you guys are just in Ennis, Texas, right? I don't know if you're in any other states. If you are, tell me. But what does your production look like? What's the average housing price? And how many homes as a team do you have to sell to hit your cap?
So fortunately, we've been in business long enough, and I've got some industrial connections, and we don't do just houses. So it some years it's you do a bunch of houses to get cap or get Icon, get cap, and then you're really pushing for Icon. But most of the time, I'm able to pull a couple of commercial deals that are going to be 50 or 60% of actual cap in one transaction.
Yeah.
So when I'm able to do that, it makes for a really good, easy push to Icon.
Yes.
This year it looks like we will, and things change all the time. We should Icon in April. Here we are in end of July, just going to finish up. But anyway, all that being said, if all the wheels that are if all the wheels don't fall off the bus, we'll cap in September, a few weeks into
our year,
our anniversary year this year. So then we'll definitely do more than Icon.
And how many transactions? That's the next question.
So generally we shoot for about 60 transactions. At the big box brokerage years ago, the price point was considerably lower, around $100,000, and we would do about 25 to 30 transactions each. So we would like to be in that 60 range, but
normally it's around like 40-ish, 43, 45.
Yeah, so that's
and
what it's been.
The price point for our area is about $340, $350.
Okay.
Median
Median price.
Awesome. Okay. Good to know. I always like to ask that question to kind of compare markets because I've got somebody in Alaska that has to sell a hell of a lot more homes than somebody in California, right? So that's
Right.
always a good gauge for listeners and other realtors to kind of see what's going on in other markets if they're looking to, make a breakthrough there. And so the next question is going to be, it's more than just production. It's more than just selling homes. It's also that cultural commitment. So you have to step away and really get involved with the community at EXP. So what is your guys' cultural commitment? Why do you pick that?
Well, so the big one that we picked up last year was the mentor program.
He became the mentor.
Yes.
Why do you pick mentoring out of, like, you could vet other icons, teach an EXP world, so why mentoring?
Well, for one, I'm not really a good teacher. I don't have the patience for it. I don't think.
I don't either.
I love the honesty.
I've got some bandwidth for mentoring if the mentee is serious about doing work.
Mhm.
Now the sad part is most of the mentees that I've picked up, they struggle with the commitment of actually doing the work. The job is a cool job if you actually commit to it, but when you get into it and you figure out, well, I've got to talk to people, or I've got to maybe say some things that reveal that I'm an agent everywhere I go,
Mm-hmm.
they struggle with that. And I don't know why, but I've had 3 mentees that just wouldn't do the work.
But he has a heart for helping people. We both do, even though we say we're
Yes.
not teachers. We do like to help. We help
Guide.
people that aren't EXP agents. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's we like to be helpful, and that's why we chose the mentorship.
Even before it was a thing, before I was at EXP, I started a coffee group
Right.
of agents that we met and talked about things that were helping me personally or Stacy personally make production, and everybody in the group, we made a commitment. I organized it, but the commitment to the group is if you hear something in this group, you can't go use that to further your business as far as client names, and because we would share client names and addresses and everything in this coffee.
That's
So
awesome.
it was a group of people that had to be trustworthy.
That's right. No, I really like the trust that you guys have going on, and the accountability too, right? So we're not just throwing information out there of our clients, we're making sure they'll be taken care of, and everything else that goes into being a good realtor, not just somebody that's commission hungry. And for my final question, when it comes to you guys in iconing, is going to be, what's your favorite part about it, right? So we touched a little bit on stock options and getting that cap back, and the opportunity to go to EXPCon and shareholders, and that nice big glass shiny trophy. Sometimes I can spot it.
It's over there somewhere.
It's over there. Sometimes I can spot it in your guys' little setup, but what is your favorite part about iconing? It's a big goal. You can just do the production and skip the iconing part. So why do you continue to put that on your list of goals everywhere and make it something that you commit to? What's your favorite part?
So for me, like I say, when I heard the EXP pitch, that's the part that resonated with me. We were with Century 21, and we were doing the volume when we started to make Icon,
Mm-hmm.
if that had been EXP. So I related it to, okay, this brokerage is willing to give me basically a start of a retirement, because we've always been self-employed since I was in my mid-20s. We started a business and have been self-employed. I'm 50 something now and have very little retirement. So with real estate agents, the big retirement plan is buy houses. Well, okay, you can buy houses, but then you got to deal with people, and unfortunately I'm kind of a pushover, and if you don't pay your rent, I'm not going to kick you out. So I have to kind of limit what I can do as far as houses, because even though that's a business, I have a hard time separating the personal aspect of that business, because it is somebody's home that they're living in, and that they depend on a roof over their head. So I'd have went broke during the pandemic because I would have never had anybody pay anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, having said that, I think the Icon Award, we like the idea of being able to earn our cap back.
And I know a little bit about stock, so when I heard the pitch, I was like, okay, I could buy stock, 5% of my commission, and I could get $16,000 back each year
Potentially.
in that stock or in additional stock. So I was like, well, that's a no-brainer for me, because I know that stock's going to appreciate over a 10-year period. And so in 10 years, it will turn into a lot more than a few years of $16,000.
Right. Yeah, no, that's true. And the Icon Award has a lot of benefits. It's a reason why people are coming over here. You touched on it earlier, Kevin, and you were like, oh my gosh, like you can get that cap back. Because think about how much money these people are just leaving on the table every year with their brokerage. It's kind of sickening sometimes. So moving forward from that and picking at your mentorship side of your brain, for somebody that's maybe new to EXP or is a rookie and EXP is their first brokerage, is it possible for them to Icon in their first year? What does that goal look like for them, or what's some major mistakes to avoid?
I think the biggest thing for a rookie is when you come out of the classes and take your test, you're prepared to do the stuff that should keep you out of trouble, because that you should have learned that. The part that you're not prepared to do, that the schools don't teach you, is the marketing aspect and the putting yourself out there aspect. Just be willing to put yourself out there. Be willing to put yourself in some uncomfortable situations, even if it's cold. We were at a recent mastermind, and the guy leading the mastermind said, pick 3 things that you like to do that give you energy, that build leads, and understand your job. Your job is to get leads. That's your only job.
Yeah.
You get leads and you write contracts.
Yeah.
Everything else you can delegate to somebody else.
Yeah.
But to develop those skills that 3 or 4 that really you enjoy, that help you get leads, whether it's a PTA or whatever networking you try to do or you like to do, where you're getting your name out there, and make sure that you don't forget, get your name out there. That's the key part of it.
And it doesn't have to be expensive marketing. You can do it's. I know an agent. We met him at Cabo. He and his team, wife, they walk neighborhoods. They drag a wagon. It could be pretty inexpensive. Just get to know your neighbors, or target a whole neighborhood that you like. It can be pretty inexpensive. I know when you first start out, it seems overwhelming because everything costs you a lot of money and you're not making any yet. But there's a lot of things you can do that doesn't cost very much.
Too much. Yeah, great advice there, guys. And, we talked a little bit earlier, Kevin, about how you guys were a little skeptical of EXP. So you did some research and checked it out for yourself. But for somebody that may be watching right now and they're, waiting for the other shoe to drop, they see it's too good to be true, but they are also seeing the greener grass and thinking about making that move over here. What would you have to say to them to kind of nip them in the butt to, make that move and, take the risk?
Well, for me, I think that you got to look at the bigger picture and do the research, but it's all true. Everything that's in writing, everything that's put out there, it's if you'll do the work and you'll get involved. Now, I think that's a big key too, as far as what I would tell mentees is you got to get involved. But it is a great culture. The culture part of it, you're not going to see that anywhere in writing other than cultural commitments through the Icon program. But the stock options are there, and the stock's done great. The Icon Awards there, I guess according to NAR, we're in the higher percentile of producers, but we're not massive producers. We're not doing $50 million a year.
Right.
We do about $9 million. Right now we're sitting at about $9 or $10 million for this year, and we will have Icon.
Right.
So you don't have to be that massive producer to enjoy the benefits of EXP.
Right.
You don't have to be that massive producer to get your cap back. And then you look at, like I said, I didn't hear the rev share part of it until later on. About a year ago, we started thinking about rev sharing, what it could mean. If you're a networker and you like to network, then the rev share is a whole nother part that could put a lot of money in your pocket and provide you some long-term sustainable revenue that's less active, requires less actions from you.
Right. That's awesome. And great advice. If you guys have any questions about making the move over to EXP, I think Kevin and Stacy are going to be some great resources for you. So make sure to reach out. Kevin, Stacy, that is all the questions I have for you guys today. Are you going to be at EXPCon?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I will plan on seeing you guys there. Anything you want to leave the listeners with today as we wrap it up?
Build 22. It's in Dallas.
In August.
What is it? 19th through the 20, whatever it is. Look up Build 22. It's if you're interested in EXP, you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, or you want to visit the Dallas-Fort Worth area. There's still tickets available. Come on, I'll see you there.
Yeah, it's a great time. And then we'll see you at EXPCon.
Can't wait, guys. Thank you so much for your time today. Awesome episode, and we will be seeing you real soon.
Okay. Thanks.
Bye, guys.
This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success, and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at SphereRocketVA.com and find out how we can make your life easier.